Xbox doesn't know what it wants to be. Over the last decade, it feels like Xbox has tried to become everything. A console, a subscription service, a PC platform, a cloud gaming company, a publisher. And at a certain point, it just feels like Xbox doesn't know what Xbox actually is anymore, or more importantly, what it wants to even be. Over the past few years, as I've said, we've seen Xbox put certain games on PC, on the cloud. At a certain point, they've even started putting classic games on PlayStation like the Halo franchise, Forza, Gears of War, and Game Pass has been pushed harder and harder than ever. But all of a sudden, yet again, it feels like Microsoft is shifting direction. Xbox seems to be currently going through a console identity crisis, sort of like a middle-aged man having a midlife crisis. From a company that used to compete directly with PlayStation to now having an identity crisis, the question at hand is, does Xbox actually know what it wants to be? To understand the point where Xbox has gone, we got to take it a little bit back. Back to when Xbox started to change its direction initially.
Excited to announce that Xbox One will launch this November in 21 markets around the world at $499 in the US, and 499 euros in European markets, and 429 pounds in the UK.
That was no other than the Xbox One generation, one of the roughest generations for a gaming company ever. PlayStation 4 was dominating the market heavily with their exclusives that they had built up, such as God of War, Spider-Man, Last of Us. It was the reason I predominantly started playing PlayStation. I had to go there for the exclusives. They were bringing excitement out of me. It was what made me want to go and play that console. Meanwhile, Xbox was struggling to create that level of excitement. So around 2017 and specifically 2018, you started to see Xbox stop trying to beat PlayStation at their own strategy. That is the hardware strategy, the exclusive strategy. Instead, they switched it up entirely. Game Pass launched, first party games started releasing day one on Game Pass. You saw PC support for Xbox enhanced dramatically. Oh yeah, and cloud gaming was entering the picture as well. And Xbox's Play Anywhere approach sort of became their main focus. You could see their vision was ambitious to a certain extent. It was no longer about asking customers to buy an Xbox, but instead for customers to buy into the Xbox brand itself. And honestly, I give them credit. That approach did make sense at that time because they knew they lost the hardware battle. And don't get me wrong, I would have liked for them to push for more exclusives, but my point is you could at least see their vision. It was definitely one of the more consumer-friendly approaches in gaming, but on PC, on the cloud, even on PlayStation, some of the greatest exclusives started to head to PlayStation. And this isn't to start any kind of console war, this is just bringing an objective statement. It's a valid reason and a valid question that every console will always be asked. Why would you own a Nintendo? Why would you own a PlayStation? Why do you have a Steam account? Nintendo has what makes Nintendo great. PlayStation has what makes PlayStation great. Even Steam has their own identity with it having been the magnum opus, the ecosystem for PC gaming. But then there was always Xbox. Why the hell would you own an Xbox? And that sort of felt where the identity crisis sort of began. You look at it all and Xbox sort of tried to become everything. They're a console manufacturer, a subscription service, a sort of PC ecosystem that's also a console ecosystem, a cloud gaming company, a publisher, and trying to do all those things isn't inherently bad, but some of them are counterintuitive. They end up contradicting each other because selling Game Pass subscriptions doesn't inherently mean it will sell more consoles. Putting games everywhere isn't necessarily the same goal as creating fantastic platform exclusive games. And growing the brand of Xbox doesn't necessarily mean Xbox hardware is going to sell. All the goals were sort of competing with one another, and that's what sort of brings me to my notion of exclusives, and the one that Xbox seems that they're kind of reverting back to. And look, I think it's important to understand why exclusives actually matter. I understand people don't necessarily think it's the most consumer-friendly approach. I understand people were getting happy when PlayStation started putting their games on PC. Xbox essentially put their whole lineup on all platforms. And if tomorrow Nintendo said the next Mario game was coming out on PlayStation, we would all low-key be geeking, I'm not even gonna lie. But at the end of the day, there's a reason exclusives always persisted and always existed. Because you think in theory a world without exclusives sounds great, but exclusives always have existed for a reason, and I've always thoroughly believed in this. I kind of touched base on this a little bit in the fall off console eras video, but beyond the fact that exclusives exist for competition's sake, they exist to give platforms identities. Nintendo sure is sort of defined by its hardware with the Switch and the Wii and the gimmicks and not gimmicks that some people think they do, but what are they truly defined by? Zelda? Pokemon? Mario? What is PlayStation defined by? God of War, Uncharted, and The Last of Us? And Xbox historically had their Halo, Gears of War, Forza. Their IPs is what upheld the brand. It's what represented the brand. Their mascots, their figures, their identity. The games would sell the platform, not the other way around. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, competition forces companies to earn your attention, and Sony earned it, Nintendo earned it, and Xbox had to earn it too. And one of the ways they used to do that was by creating experiences that you felt you couldn't get anywhere else. And Xbox seems to have sort of got this. That's why they're releasing Clockwork Revolution and Gears of War E-Day as a console exclusive. And it's weird because, as we've said, Microsoft has sort of emphasized ecosystem now over exclusivity, and that's what kind of ended up biting them in the ass. But I understand why they had to do it, because they felt they lost the hardware market. But okay, Xbox finally feels like they think exclusives matter again, but they say they want to commit to exclusives. Cool. Okay, Gears of War E-Day, Clockwork Revolution, Xbox says they're going to be Xbox console exclusives, but again, there's the issue. It's no commitment. It sounds like Xbox is returning to the traditional exclusive model, but that's not even true, because it's also going to launch on PC, and this isn't again about trying to gatekeep certain games, but it's just about trying to see Xbox have some fucking identity. Let their nuts hang, like, come on. It's clear then that Microsoft still views PC as a big part of the Xbox ecosystem and a necessity almost, and I don't think that's a problem, but the problem is more so the messaging, the strategy, the identity. If you feel exclusives are the futures, then shouldn't you commit? Because multi-platform isn't necessarily an exclusive strategy. If you're gonna put it on PC, then why not just put it on PlayStation as well? And this is Xbox's thing. They always seem to be stuck somewhere in the middle. Some games go everywhere. Some games are just in the Xbox ecosystem. Some decisions like Clockwork Revolution and Gears of War E-Day seem to be handling exclusives on a case-by-case basis. I've always thought if you were gonna commit on the exclusive strategy, then shouldn't you do every IP that Xbox owns should be exclusive to the Xbox console then? But no, okay, you own Bethesda games. I guess Bethesda games will go everywhere, but then no, because we also want to keep Starfield on the Xbox, but it didn't end up selling well. So you know what? Here you go, PlayStation, PC. It's again no identity, no commitment. I think everybody would be able to get behind, or at least understand more, a strategy if you're going, okay, you're gonna go fully exclusives. You're finally pulling all Xbox's IPs only on the Xbox. We would get it. We'd be like, okay, that's fair. That's the direction PlayStation's heading, because they realized that it was kind of biting them in the ass to put some of their games on PC and Steam. So now PlayStation has realized, okay, we're gonna dial back putting games everywhere. We're just gonna give you a reason to stay on the PlayStation 5 and not go anywhere else for gaming. That makes sense. A multi-platform strategy. Okay, cool, Microsoft, I get it. You just want to sell the Game Pass, so you could pretty much play all type of Xbox games anywhere, as long as it's sort of being funneled through the Xbox ecosystem. I get that, but you're not doing that anymore. Making your strategy always harder to define. So are you exclusives? Are you not exclusives? Are you multi-platform? Are you ecosystem? Are you hardware-based? What are you? And it gets even more confusing when there's been current speculation that Compulsion Games is going to be shutting down. So if your big approach is to finally sell the games again to get you to buy the console, then what is going on here with discussions of shutting down studios that you had bought? Which takes it back to 2018 when Xbox did this massive sort of studio acquisition spree. They were buying everything. It made sense. They're acquiring good developers. They're trying to build stronger first-party games, strengthen the Xbox sort of lineup, create future exclusives. And then now we're just here. You've shut down countless studios. You didn't really make these companies make exclusives for you, and when you did make them exclusives, they didn't sell well at all because nobody wanted to buy an Xbox. So you ended up saying, okay, well, we got to put on PlayStation 5 and then PC, but old game is old, so nobody ended up buying them there. And a little caveat I do want to make is that even if by the time this video comes out a bunch of studios got shut down or no studios got shut down, at the end of the day, this shouldn't even be speculation, and that's my problem with it. There's no vision. Shutting down studios to save money costs isn't a vision. It's just arrogance and mental psychosis at this point, let's be honest. Money! You should be upholding these studios, protecting these studios, not getting rid of them, or even thinking and having the idea of getting rid of them. That's the point. You have all these ideas. You want Game Pass to grow. You want your PC market to grow. You want cloud gaming to grow. You want multi-platform revenue. You want stronger exclusives. You want the Xbox to sell. Those are great goals, but it doesn't make them a unanimous goal that will all align together. And that brings me back to the question when I think about it all. I don't think it's a conversation about exclusives. What sells the hardware? Should Xbox do exclusives? Should Xbox do multi-platform? I think the conversation more is around the identity issue. We know what Nintendo is. We know what PlayStation is. We get their brand approaches. We get their strategies. But Xbox? Is Xbox defined by Game Pass? Is it defined by its games? Is it defined by its ecosystem? Is it defined by its console? What is Xbox defined by? And until that question's answered, the identity crisis will remain. Till next time.